when I think about our country, our veterans, our freedoms, and our flag. I am reminded of great words that have been written and spoken throughout our history. These are among my favorites. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. These are the times that try men's souls. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. It does not require many words to speak the truth. There's no right way to do the wrong thing. Walk softly and carry a big stick. All we have to fear is fear itself. December 7th, 1941, a date that will live in infamy. The buck stops here. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. I have a dream that one day in America my 4 children will be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. We will not tire, we will not falter, and we will not fail. Great words indeed, and as they were written and spoken, there has remained one constant symbol of our country and our freedoms, and that's this beautiful flag. Oh, it's changed some over the years, from the number of stars to the configuration of the stars, but it's still the same old flag, and it stands today as the greatest symbol of freedom the world has ever known. And I've often wondered what words our flag would use if it were able to speak directly to us. Perhaps it would use these words. Hello, remember me? I'm the American flag. Some people look at me and see nothing but a piece of cloth without purpose or meaning, and I've been spit on, stomped on, and disgraced in the streets of my own country. But to most Americans, I am very special. To some, I'm seen as the embodiment of all that has gone before, a reminder of the sacrifices that have been made for their freedoms. And to others, I'm seen as an obligation of the present generation to pass along undiminished the freedoms which they have enjoyed to the next generation. On this beautiful day in Montrose, Virginia, I hope that I'm special to each of you. And for the next few minutes, as I tell you a little about myself, I hope you'll give some thought to what it means to you to be living free in America. I am a flag with an identifiable birthday, July the 4th, 1776. The Declaration of Independence is my birth certificate. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights have charted my course. The bloodlines of all the peoples of the world run through my veins. From its birth, my nation has offered hope to the oppressed and to those who yearn for freedom. The 5 great freedoms which we cherish, defend, and promote are freedom from fear, freedom from oppression, freedom of movement, freedom of press and speech, and freedom of religion. Today, I proudly represent these freedoms among the flags at the United Nations. I am many things to many people. I represent the nation called the United States of America. Over 300 million living souls and the memories of millions more who died for me are part of me. In my history are Abigail Adams and Paul Revere. My heritage is at Lexington, where the shot heard round the world was fired. In my heritage are Washington, Jefferson, Patrick Henry, John Paul Jones, the Green Mountain Boys, Davy Crockett, Ulysses S. Grant, Robert E. Lee, and Abraham Lincoln. Once when my ideals were seriously challenged, a civil war resulted. After the sacrifice of the lives of 630,000 people, I survived, and freedom was preserved and extended. Lincoln's second inaugural speech and Gettysburg Address reset my goals. Remember the Alamo, the Maine, Pearl Harbor, Iwo Jima? Well, I was there, and I was called on 2 times when freedom was threatened throughout the world. I answered those calls, and I stayed until it was over. Overseas, I have been with my heroic dead in Flanders Field, on the Rock of Corregidor, the bleak slopes of Korea, the steamy jungles of Vietnam, and on the desert sands of Kuwait, Afghanistan, and Iraq. I was the first flag carried to and planted on the moon by an American. I was there when they built the Brooklyn Bridge, dug the Panama Canal, cultivated the wheatlands of Kansas, plowed the cornfields of Iowa, quarried granite from the hills of Vermont. I stretched from the Atlantic to the Pacific. My arms reach out to embrace Alaska and Hawaii, 3 million square miles, a nation throbbing with industry. I represent forest, fields, mountains, and desert. I am the coal fields of the Virginias and Pennsylvania, the fertile lands of the West, the Golden Gate, and the Grand Canyon. I am the mighty Mississippi, Missouri, Ohio, and Potomac rivers. I am the Rockies, the Blue Ridge, and the Great Smoky Mountains. I am the Badlands, Mount Rushmore, and the beautiful Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm city, state, and national parks. I'm quiet villages and bustling cities that never sleep. You can look at me and imagine a young Ben Franklin walking the streets of Philadelphia with a loaf of bread under each arm, or see an old Ben Franklin flying a kite. You can see Betsy Ross making a flag, hear the sounds and see the lights of Christmas, and hear the strains of Old Lang Syne as the calendar turns. I'm 130 schools and colleges, 350,000 churches, synagogues, and mosques where my people may worship God as they choose and cultivate the fraternal spirit and charity in the broadest sense. I'm an editorial in a newspaper, a ballot dropped into a box, a letter to a congressman, the roar of a crowd at a stadium, and the voices of a choir in a cathedral. I'm Babe Ruth, Joe DiMaggio, Jackie Robinson, Roberto Clemente, Henry Aaron, and the World Series. I am the Congress, the Supreme Court, and the presidency. I'm Eli Whitney, Jeanette Rankin, Clara Barton, Jonas Salk, and Will Rogers, Horace Greeley, the Wright brothers, Thomas Edison and Albert Einstein, George Washington Carver, Martin Luther King Jr., Mary Bethune, Harriet Beecher Stowe, Daniel Webster, Walt Whitman, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, Chief Joseph, Booker T. Washington, and Thomas Paine. I'm called the Star-Spangled Banner because a fellow named Francis Scott Key wrote a poem in 1812 that was put to music. Today, millions hear me glorified in that song daily across America. And I drape the caskets of every soldier, sailor, airman, and Marine buried in Arlington National Cemetery and in countless cemeteries across this great land. These are but some of what I have been and am. I was conceived in freedom, and God willing, in freedom I will serve the rest of my days. And I am your flag. Some of you may call me Old Glory, the Stars and Stripes, the ensign, or just the flag. But whatever I'm called, I'm your flag, and as I proudly state, the flag of the United States of America. But something's been bothering me lately, and I was wondering if I could talk it over with you, because you see, it's about you and me. Not so long ago, I think it was Memorial Day, or maybe it was the 4th of July, when people lined both sides of the street to watch a parade. When your father saw me coming along, waving high in the breeze, he took his hat off, placed it at his left shoulder with his right hand directly over his heart. And you were there, standing straight as a little soldier. You didn't have a hat on, but you gave the proper salute. They taught you at school to place your right hand over your heart. And remember your little sister, not to be outdone. She was saluting same as you. Oh, I was proud, so very proud as I came down that street. Oh yes, there were service members there in uniform, standing at attention, giving the military salute. Ladies as well as gentlemen, military as well as civilian, paid me respect, reverence. Now, if I sound a bit conceited, well, I have a right to be, because you see, I represent the finest nation on the face of this earth, the United States of America. More than one aggressive nation, and now terrorist groups have tried to haul me down, only to feel the fury of this freedom-loving country. Some of you may have had to go overseas to defend me. Well, there's been a lot of bloodshed since those patriotic parades of long ago, and I've had a few stars added since you were a boy, but I'm still the same old flag. Well, Dad has passed on now, and the old town has taken on a new look. The last time I was down your street, I noticed that some of the old landmarks had given way to new homes and office buildings. Yes, sir, the old town sure has changed. But I guess I have too, because you see, sometimes I don't feel as proud as I did back then. Today, I see young people running wild through the streets, college boys and girls disrupting our campuses, people selling hot dogs and beer while our national anthem is played, dope deals taking place on our street corners, Children carrying guns to school and killing their classmates and teachers. Cowards, some with homemade bombs, committing acts of evil and claiming it is in the name of Almighty God. And now millionaire football players refusing to stand for our national anthem. Everything from apathy to riots to mayhem. They don't seem to know or care who I am. Not long ago, I passed a man on the street who took his hat off as I went by. He looked around, didn't see anyone else with their hats off, so he quickly put his back on. And now when I come down your street, you just stand there with your hands in your pockets. Oh, occasionally you'll give me a little glance, but you quickly look away. And too often, I find myself at the top of flagpoles, forgotten, allowed to become faded, tattered, and torn. I'm sometimes worn as if I were a piece of clothing, used as a decoration, flown carelessly from the backs of pickup trucks, tacked upon walls without illumination, so in darkness, no one even knows that I'm around. When I think of all the places I've been, Normandy, Guadalcanal, Battle of the Bulge, Quezon, Hamburger Hill, I wonder, what's happened? I'm still the same old flag. How am I supposed to fly high and proud above homes, offices, and schools when inside there's no thought, love, or respect for me? What's happened to patriotism? Your patriotism? Have you forgotten what I stand for? Have you forgotten all the battlefields where soldiers fought and died to secure our freedoms? When you salute me, you salute them. And take a look at the memorial honor rolls sometimes. Read the names of those who never came back. Some were your relatives, your friends, maybe even went to school with you. Names such as Paul Eldon Jones, James Edward Kelly, Robert Eugene Lucas, Stanley Victor Newman, names that appear on the Vietnam Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C., and those same names appear on a monument in my hometown. Those are whom we honor. And may we never forget their families and the hundreds of thousands of families who have suffered and sacrificed. Many have grown old without husbands, fathers, sisters, and sons. Oh, they know better than most that freedom is not free. Well, it won't be long and there'll be another parade and I'll be coming down your street again. So when you see me coming, stand straight and proud. Put your right hand over your heart. Do this because I represent you and I represent those who gave their all. And may we always have the integrity, the strength, and the courage to keep ourselves unshackled, to be a citadel of freedom and a beacon of hope throughout the world. That is my hope, my dream, and my prayer. By an act of Congress, I fly continuously over the Temple of Liberty, the United States Capitol. And I will fly in perpetuity if we, the people, are worthy successors of those who fought and died to secure those freedoms. And finally, let me just take a moment to pay tribute to the young men and women wearing the uniforms of our nation, serving around the world this very hour, doing the heavy lifting of freedom so that you and I can meet without fear. They have names like Sudduth, Dupre, McDowney, Stafford, Kinsey, Jones, Sidner, and Green, each a volunteer, and they come from every corner of this great land. But sadly, some of our young patriots will be returning home draped in my arms. Well, let me just say, a flag that's good enough to drape the casket of a fallen hero is good enough to be loved, honored, and respected. In remembrance of them, may God bless you, God bless the families of the fallen, and God bless the United States of America.